What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Now it's time for this week's AEW. Join us now as we look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including Jeff Hardy confirming he's going to AEW, Trish Stratus confirms her WWE return, Lita wants more matches, Goldberg COVID crisis, is Ric Flair dating a 28-year-old, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, Buddy Matthews is all elite. Does AEW have too much talent? The answer is yes, but how can you turn down a chance to bring in talent like Buddy Matthews, aka former superstar Buddy Murphy? Matthews is a phenomenal performer, and while AEW is full of phenomenal performers, Matthews should help round out Malachi Black's House of Black faction, making it more dangerous than ever before. Number 2, sympathy for MJF. Yeah, was that sympathy that we just felt for MJF? The much-hated Maxwell Jacob Friedman cut a heartwarming promo that revealed a side of MJF that fans never knew about, a young man with ADD who had to deal with anti-Semitic hate and true inspiration from pro wrestling, especially in CM Punk, only for Punk to shatter his dreams when he left wrestling in 2014. MJF capped things off by saying Punk's portrayal ultimately galvanized him to become the best in the world and prove he's better than Punk. MJF's sincerity even captured Punk's attention, with Punk coming out to the ring to ask MJF if it was all true. Max's admission that every word of it was true has to have fans asking, can Punk wrestle someone who he's responsible for creating, and whether this is just another MJF malevolent mind game? Well, there's definitely got to be some truth to it, as MJF did confirm on a Facebook post years back that he did leave football for wrestling. Number 3, Kingston gives 0 Fs. A Jericho and Eddie Kingston's promo was just one of several strong promos last night, as Jericho buried Eddie and his family, calling them failures while acknowledging himself as a difference maker in AEW. Could Jericho also be teasing a heel turn here? Well, Kingston fired back with a fiery response, warning Jericho not to bring the Jericho who wrestled a Mimosa match, but the Jericho who became AEW's first world champion, the man who turned WCW upside down, and give me that Chris Jericho that your friend Levesque hated. It'll be interesting to see whether AEW puts Kingston over, as the 40-year-old has come up short far too many times since debuting in the promotion. Number 4, Mox and Danielson is happening. Yeah, the dream match of Jon Moxley vs Bryan Danielson is finally happening, as Mox made it clear there's nowhere he'll align himself with Danielson before spilling blood with him in the ring. While Mox vs Danielson sells itself on the match's potential for greatness, to punch of Moxley's desire to slay the dragon who defeated him early on in his career, along with Danielson's willingness to play Moxley's game in order to secure an alliance, should turn this one into an instant classic. And the AEW Revolution card looks stacked. Unlike WWE, AEW puts a lot of effort into promoting its pay-per-views. The argument can be made that the WWE has less incentive to do so, as its shows are on Peacock and the promotion feels it's built an audience. Whether or not that's true, All Elite Wrestling's commitment to promoting its shows is refreshing, as the company goes out of its way to show the fans why they need to tune in to their quarterly pay-per-views. And this wasn't even their go-home show. But that was a good. What about the bad? Is number 1, The House of Horror. Actually, we mean corny. And last night's reintroduction of the Lucha Brothers Penta El Zero as a darker character, Penta Oscuro, was cringy, as Penta's manager was attained in a cheap vampire outfit that looked like he got it from the discount bin at Party City. While we like that AEW is showing how Malachi Black's opponents are corrupted by wrestling him, this segment was bad. Not too long back, we discussed the difficulties of booking borderline supernatural segments, as you don't want to insult the audience's intelligence. There's a fine line between an edgy segment with horror elements and a cornball collection like what we saw last night. You can take it to the bank that AEW fans don't want to see wrestle crap like this, and it's a good way for AEW to lose its reputation as a promotion that focuses on serious storylines. And number 2, a terrible tag team battle royal. Last night's tag team battle royal was a reminder of why tag team battle royals are so awful. Not only are they a magma hot mess, but they're usually a sign of lazy booking. Last night's match was both, as fans couldn't keep up with the action, and the only purpose of the event was to show the rising tension between the Bucks and Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. AEW should have featured a tag team tournament if it really wanted to showcase the various contenders to AEW's World Tag Team Championship. There was nothing ugly about last night's show, as AEW upped the hype for its Revolution pay-per-view by continuing to deliver a slew of storylines, including the growing dissension between the Young Bucks and Adam Cole, CM Punk's dog collar match with MJF, and Adam Cole's AEW World Championship match. What did you think of Dynamite last night? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Our first story looks at Jeff Hardy confirming he's going to AEW. Atop in today's news is more evidence that the recently released WWE superstar Jeff Hardy is on his way to AEW. According to Wrestle Talk, a new video has emerged of Jeff Hardy interacting with YouTuber Jared Myers and confirming that he is in fact AEW confirmed. In the video it sounds as though Jeff says, "I'm going to AEW, I'm so excited." According to the interviewer, it was meant to be more of a conversation than an interview, however Jeff was allegedly aware the interactions were being filmed. While critics can argue that Jeff is spoiling the surprise of him heading to AEW, it's one of wrestling's worst kept secrets that Brother Nero is headed there, so why bother trying to hide it? Next up, AEW Revolution match in Jeopardy. AEW Revolution is just 2 weeks away, but it appears one rumored match may not take place. During the recent Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer discussed a rumored match between Death Triangle of Pac and Lucha Brothers versus the House of Black. Unfortunately, Rey Fenix may not be ready to compete by then, leaving the potential matchup in the air. That may be a little bit later because I was told that Fenix still has 3 weeks and 3 weeks is kinda missing March 6th. But who knows, it's wrestlers, it's Rey Fenix and he's crazy. Maybe he'll make it and maybe that match will be there on there as well. As mentioned, AEW's upcoming card is already stacked, and while a trios match between Death Triangle and the House of Black should be solid, Rey Fenix needs to wait until he's fully healed before returning to action. Next up, Lita wants more matches. Could Lita be returning to the WWE for more matches? Her appearance at the 2022 Royal Rumble and her match with Becky Lynch at Elimination Chamber was well received by the WWE Universe, and even the WWE noticed how warmly Lita was received. During a chat with Metro UK's Alistair McGeorge, Lita discussed her wish to wrestle more women from today's roster. I had fun being in there with Shotzi. I think that would be cool to do something again. I was really impressed with Rhea Ripley. I'd love to do something with her. Of course, pick up where I left off with Charlotte Flair. Bianca Belair is an incredible athlete, and you know what? Natty's been there tried and true. I'd love to be in the ring with her as well. Lita can show she can still go in the ring, so it's just a matter of whether the WWE wants her back. Would you guys like to see Lita wrestle again? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, Trish Stratus confirms a WWE return. Speaking of WWE legends, Lita's frenemy Trish Stratus has confirmed she's returning to the WWE and will be in hand for WrestleMania's weekend. Sportskeeda reported local advertisements in Canada are advertising Stratus as a special guest host for a pair of WWE live events on March 26th and 27th in Ontario, Canada. Both shows are being advertised as Raw branded events. In addition, she also tweeted that she'll be on hand in Dallas in the weekend of WrestleMania 38. Stratus will appear at this year's WrestleCon event, which is scheduled for 31st March through 2nd April. And while Stratus has teased wanting to return to the ring, there are no current plans for her to compete. Next up, Goldberg's COVID crisis. Bill Goldberg's recent Elimination Chamber match had a controversial finish thanks to a referee failing to have Reigns break his guillotine on Goldberg when Dollar Bill accidentally grabbed the ring ropes. However, that was the least of Goldberg's problems when it came to the match, as a bout of COVID put a monkey wrench into his preparation. The Hall of Famer discussed the situation on his CarCast podcast, saying, "I hadn't trained for 3 months. I have COVID when I get the phone call to go. I literally had 2 weeks in the gym to get ready for this. What people don't understand, and it will come out in the documentary, it's tough to do that as a 20-year-old, it's more difficult as a 30-year-old, a 40-year-old, it's almost impossible. A 55-year-old, I'm one of those 0.03% humans on the planet that can pull something like that off." Now, Goldberg couldn't have put the tribal chief over much better as he passed out while trapped in Reigns' guillotine choke finisher. And finally, is Ric Flair dating a 28-year-old? Flair, who recently ended his relationship with 61-year-old Wendy Barlow, who previously worked in WCW as Fifi the French Maid, was spotted with an attractive blonde at Los Angeles, with a report from Daily Mail revealing Ric Flair has been spotted flying out of LAX with a much younger female friend. DailyMail.com saw the 72-year-old legend at the airport with 28-year-old Kelly Brewster, who hails from New Jersey but now lives in Tampa, Florida. Brewster was seen tenderly tending to Flair, fixing his shirt and adjusting his mask while they waited in line for their flight. Perhaps the most interesting aspect of the story is the revelation that Slick Rick and Wendy Barlow were not married as originally believed. It was later confirmed to People that their marriage was never official and there was no application for a marriage certificate. It was just a ceremony. Flair said, "We were never married." Could Flair have finally found his true love with Miss Brewster? Or was this just a case of a highly attractive nurse tending to a feisty elderly gentleman? What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.